All right, so get this. We're diving into this AI story. It's pretty wild.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's about this AI that's totally punching above its weight.
Hmm.
You know those massive language models we always hear about? The ones with billions and billions of parameters.
Right, right.
Well, this one's called YuLan-Mini, and it's showing us that bigger isn't always better.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's only got like 2.42 billion parameters, but it's going head-to-head with models like 10 times its size and winning,
Wow.
especially when it comes to things like math and coding.
Huh. So it's like a David and Goliath kind of situation.
Totally. It's this small model taking on the giants, and the researchers over at Renmin University of China, they pulled it off.
That's pretty remarkable what they've done.
Right. And what's even cooler is that they did it by being really smart about their resources.
So not just throwing more data at the problem.
Exactly. They went for quality over quantity, which is kind of counterintuitive when we think about AI needing tons of data.
I see what you mean.
So that's what this deep dive is all about.
Figuring out their secret sauce.
Yep. We've got a stack of their research notes and everything, and we're going to unpack how they built this little engine that could.
Oh, all ears.
So they focused on a few key things.
Like what?
Data efficiency,
Okay, makes sense.
tackling instability during training.
Right. That's a big one.
And then there's this whole annealing phase, which I'm really curious about.
Annealing.
Yeah, it sounds pretty fascinating.
Definitely. And, the implications of all this are huge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they can get these kinds of results with a smaller model, it really opens up the possibilities of who can develop AI.
Not just the big tech companies anymore.
Exactly.
All right, let's break this down. So first up, data efficiency.
Okay.
You mentioned they were going for quality over quantity.
Right.
So what did their data set actually look like?
Well, they used a mix of open source data sets, which is pretty standard, but then they also used synthetic data.
Synthetic data?
Yeah, they basically created their own data specifically for tasks like math and coding problems.
Wait, so they're making up data?
Kind of. Think of it like this. If you're training someone to be a chess master, you don't just have them play random games, right?
I guess not.
You give them specific scenarios, puzzles, exercises that target certain skills.
Oh, okay.
So synthetic data is kind of like that for AI. It lets you create these really specific training scenarios that you might not find in real-world data sets.
And for things like math and coding, where there's a clear right and wrong answer?
It's actually easier to generate high-quality synthetic data.
Ah, that makes sense. So they're carefully crafting these scenarios to teach the model exactly what they want it to learn.
Exactly.
But didn't they also do a ton of work cleaning up existing data sets?
Oh, absolutely. They were super rigorous about data quality.
Like how?
They did a bunch of stuff like deduplication, filtering out irrelevant content, and even using AI models to score the quality of each data point.
Wow.
Yeah, they built these special classifiers for math code and reasoning tasks just to make sure the data they were using was top-notch.
It sounds like they were obsessed with making every piece of data count.
Pretty much.
But even with all that training, these models can get tricky, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I've heard about them becoming unstable during training.
You're right. That's a huge challenge, even with a smaller model like YuLan-Mini.
So how do they keep things from going off the rails?
They took this really systematic approach using these things called hidden states as like an early warning system.
Hidden states.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain, but basically they're like snapshots of the model's internal workings during training.
Okay.
And by monitoring them closely, they could actually see signs of instability before it became a big problem.
Interesting. So they could spot those wobbly blocks before the tower started to lean.
Exactly. And once they saw those warning signs, they tested a whole bunch of different techniques to stabilize things.
Like what?
Well, they tried different ways to initialize the model's parameters, which is like making sure the starting blocks are nice and steady. And they also explored this method called reparametrization, which helps distribute those adjustments more evenly so things don't get thrown off balance.
It sounds like they were constantly tweaking and refining the training process.
Yeah, pretty much.
But they didn't stop there, right? There's that whole annealing phase we talked about.
Right, that's where things get really interesting.
So what is annealing exactly?
Well, imagine a blacksmith forging a sword.
Okay.
They heat the metal up to make it malleable, and then they carefully cool it down to make it strong and flexible.
Right.
That slow cooling process is kind of like annealing for a language model.
So they're basically giving it another round of specialized training, but this time it's all about refinement.
Exactly.
What's the goal of this annealing phase?
In this phase, they really focused on pushing the model's capabilities.
How so?
They used even higher quality data, including more of that synthetic reasoning data we talked about.
Okay.
And they also did something pretty cool with the context window.
The context window?
Yeah. Think of it like reading a book. The context window is like how much of the story you can hold in your mind at once. A bigger window means you can make connections between ideas that are farther apart.
I see.
So for a language model, a wider context window means it can understand longer and more complex pieces of text.
Ah, that makes sense. So they basically gave YuLan-Mini a wider view of the information.
Exactly.
How much did they extend it by?
They took it from 4,096 tokens to a 128,672 tokens.
Wow, that's a huge jump.
It is. It lets the model grasp these really intricate arguments and relationships in the data.
But extending the context window, like that must come with its own set of challenges, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like trying to juggle more balls at once.
So how did they handle that?
They had to be really careful about the mix of data they used during this annealing phase. They had to make sure they were giving the model both short and long context examples.
Right, to train it effectively.
Exactly. And they also experimented with techniques like checkpoint merging.
Checkpoint merging.
It's kind of like combining the best of what the model learned at different points during training.
Interesting. Okay, so we've got this small but mighty model trained on this super carefully selected data
Yeah.
and then put through this intense annealing process.
Right.
All of that sounds incredibly impressive, but did it actually work? How did YuLan-Mini perform against those bigger models?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the results are pretty amazing, actually. YuLan-Mini really blew expectations out of the water.
So it lived up to the hype.
Oh, yeah. And then some, especially when you consider its size.
Okay, give me the highlights.
It scored crazy high on these benchmarks like Math 500.
Which I'm guessing is all about math problems.
You got it. And then there's GSM 8K, which tests its reasoning abilities.
So complex math problems, reasoning, and what about the code generation? Did it do well on that too?
Aced, it nailed human eval, which is a really tough benchmark for code generation.
Wow. So it can tackle complex math problems, write code, and because of that extended context window we talked about,
Right.
it can understand those nuanced arguments too. This is shaping up to be a real multi-talented AI.
It really is.
Did they track its progress throughout the training process? I mean, that's a ton of data to keep tabs on.
Oh, for sure. They kept a close eye on how it was performing on those benchmarks.
Makes sense.
It helped them fine-tune their approach along the way.
I bet. So how did they actually measure its progress?
Well, they used a few different things. One was this metric called perplexity.
Perplexity.
Yeah, it's basically a way of measuring how well the model understands the data it's being given.
Okay.
A lower perplexity generally means better understanding.
Got it. So lower perplexity, higher scores on those benchmarks.
Yep, sounds like YuLan-Mini knocked it out of the park.
It does. But this isn't just about the technical achievements, right? There's a bigger story here.
Definitely.
This little model, it's kind of challenging the status quo in AI development.
It really is. You know what excites me most about all this?
What?
The potential YuLan-Mini unlocks. It shows that you don't need to be this massive tech company with endless resources to make a real impact in AI.
That's a pretty powerful statement.
Right. This focus on efficiency and carefully crafting the data, it could really level the playing field.
I see what you mean. So we often think of cutting-edge AI as this exclusive club.
Yeah.
But YuLan-Mini is showing us that maybe the doors are opening wider than we thought.
Exactly.
What kind of impact would that have, say, for researchers working with limited resources?
Oh, it could be huge. Imagine smaller research teams.
Yeah.
Even individual researchers being able to experiment with new AI architectures and training methods without needing access to these massive data sets or supercomputers.
So it could lead to a whole new wave of creativity and innovation in the field.
Absolutely.
That's really fascinating. It's like giving more people the tools to explore this incredibly powerful technology.
Right, and it's not just about computer science students either.
Oh, yeah.
We could see people from all sorts of fields using AI to solve problems and create new things.
Like who?
People in healthcare, finance, even the arts.
Wow. It's kind of mind-boggling to think about all the potential applications.
It is.
We could see these AI-powered tools and solutions being developed by people with real expertise in their fields, tailored to very specific needs.
Right. It's like this renaissance of AI innovation.
I love that. Okay, let's be realistic, though.
Yeah.
There had to be some limitations.
All right.
They didn't have unlimited resources after all.
Of course. The team behind YuLan-Mini is very upfront about the fact that its long context capabilities are still somewhat limited.
So that extended context window, well, impressive.
Right.
It's not a magic bullet.
Not quite. There's always room for improvement. And scaling this approach to even larger models is going to take a lot more research and innovation.
This is just the beginning of what's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's bring this back to our listener for a second. What's the key takeaway here for someone who's not an AI researcher but is interested in the potential of this technology.
I'd say the big takeaway is this. Don't be intimidated by all the complexity. Don't feel limited by a lack of resources. The story of YuLan-Mini is a great reminder that you can overcome some pretty big challenges with ingenuity, careful planning, and a willingness to experiment.
I like that. So whether you're working on a personal project, a business idea, or just exploring a new field.
Remember that sometimes the most creative solutions come from the most unexpected places.
That's a great message.
Yeah.
It's all about pushing those boundaries and figuring out new ways to make things work.
Right.
Okay, you mentioned earlier that the researchers behind YuLan-Mini were really meticulous about documenting their whole process.
Oh, yeah, they were.
Why is that so important?
It's crucial for AI as a field by sharing not just their results, but also their methods.
A whole recipe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The data, the code, the training techniques, everything. They're allowing others to replicate their work, build upon it, and potentially accelerate progress in the whole field.
So it's about transparency and collaboration,
Absolutely.
making sure everyone benefits from these discoveries.
Exactly. And that's especially important in a field like AI, which has the potential to impact so many parts of our lives.
Right. We need to make sure this technology is developed responsibly in a way that benefits everyone.
And openness and collaboration are key to making that happen.
I agree. Well said.
Right.
Okay, I want to shift gears a bit. As we've been talking, I keep thinking about that whole synthetic data thing.
Yeah.
It's just such a fascinating concept.
Yeah.
Was there anything about YuLan-Mini's development process that surprised you? Anything that made you think, wow, that actually worked?
You know, honestly, it was their heavy reliance on synthetic data, especially for things like math and coding.
Really?
Yeah, it's one thing to use it to kind of augment existing data sets, but they really pushed the boundaries, creating entire training scenarios from scratch. And the results speak for themselves.
They do. It makes you wonder about the future of data and AI development.
For sure.
Could we see a shift away from these massive real-world data sets towards more curated and controlled synthetic ones?
It's definitely possible. If we can create these synthetic data sets that are representative and tailored to specific tasks, it could be a really powerful tool for training more efficient and specialized AI models.
So we're potentially talking about a paradigm shift in AI development. Smaller models, more efficient techniques, and maybe even a move towards synthetic data.
Right.
What does all of this mean for the future of AI accessibility?
Well, if this trend continues, it could significantly lower the barrier to entry for AI development.
Interesting.
We could see a wave of innovation coming from individuals, startups, and research groups who didn't have the resources to compete before.
It's like a democratizing force.
Exactly. And that diversity of thought and approach could be key to unlocking the full potential of AI.
And ensuring that everyone benefits.
Right.
It reminds me of the early days of personal computing.
How so?
You had this technology that was once limited to just research labs and big corporations.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it became available to everyone.
Right.
And that led to this explosion of creativity and innovation.
I see what you mean. So you're thinking we could see a similar revolution with AI?
I think it's possible.
No.
But with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, excellent.
We need to make sure that this democratization of AI leads to positive outcomes for society as a whole.
Couldn't agree more. Ethical considerations, fairness, transparency, those are more important than ever. As AI becomes more widespread, we need to have open and honest conversations about its potential benefits and risks.
And work together to make sure it benefits humanity.
Exactly.
So for our listener, this isn't just some passive deep dive into interesting research.
Right.
It's a call to action.
I like that.
As you engage with AI, whether you're a developer, a user, or just a curious citizen, ask yourself, how can I help shape a future where AI serves humanity as a whole?
That's a powerful question to consider. And it brings us back to those core values of responsible AI development.
Things like fairness, transparency, and accountability.
Exactly. Those aren't just abstract ideas. They're principles that need to be embedded in every single stage of AI.
From data collection and model design to deployment and governance.
Right.
It sounds like we need a real shift in mindset.
I think
Moving away from a purely technical view of AI to something more holistic that considers its social and ethical implications.
I completely agree. We need to move beyond all the hype and fear that surrounds AI
Right.
and really engage in these thoughtful and nuanced conversations about its place in our lives.
And I think this deep dive has been a great example of that.
It was so.
We've explored the technical side of YuLan-Mini, its potential to disrupt things, and those bigger questions it raises about access, equity, and responsibility.
And hopefully it's inspired our listeners to keep exploring these questions, to dig deeper into AI with a critical and discerning eye.
Absolutely. Remember, the future of AI isn't set in stone.
Right.
It's being shaped right now by the choices we make, the questions we ask, and the actions we take.
So stay curious, stay engaged, and keep asking those tough questions.
Yeah.
The world of AI is full of possibilities.
Right.
And it's up to all of us to make sure those possibilities lead to a better future for everyone.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've explored the marvels of YuLan-Mini, its potential to democratize AI development, and the importance of open science.
Yeah.
Before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listener with a final thought, something to ponder as they continue their own explorations in the world of AI. So we've talked about how YuLan-Mini could open up AI development.
Right, make it more accessible.
But what about access to the technology itself? Who actually benefits from these advances?
That's a really important question. You know, it's easy to get swept up in the excitement of it all. To think that just because something's more accessible, it automatically means a better world for everyone.
Right, but that's not always how it works out.
Unfortunately not. History shows us that technology often benefits some groups more than others.
It's like the internet. It's this amazing tool with so much potential, but it's also created new kinds of inequality.
Exactly. So as we're celebrating YuLan-Mini and this idea of more efficient and accessible AI, we also need to be thinking about who might get left behind.
It's a good point. It reminds us that technology is a tool.
Right.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
And how it's used really depends on the choices we make as a society.
So we need to be proactive about shaping the future of AI.
Absolutely. Make sure its benefits are shared and its potential harms are minimized.
So for our listener, this isn't just a deep dive into some cool research.
It's more than that.
It's a call to action. As you interact with AI, whether you're developing it, using it, or just curious about it, ask yourself, how can I contribute to a future where AI benefits everyone?
That's a great question to reflect on. It brings us back to those core values of responsible AI development.
Fairness, transparency, accountability.
Exactly. Those aren't just buzzwords. They need to be woven into every aspect of AI.
From the data and the design to how it's actually used and governed.
Right. We need to move beyond just the technical view of AI.
Into a more holistic perspective.
One that considers the social and ethical implications.
I think this deep dive has been a good example of that kind of conversation. We've explored the technical stuff about YuLan-Mini, its potential to change things, and those bigger questions about access, equity, and responsibility.
And hopefully it's inspired our listeners to keep digging into these questions.
Yeah, to keep learning and exploring AI with a critical eye.
Because the future of AI isn't predetermined. It's being shaped right now by the choices we make.
By the questions we ask and the actions we take.
So stay curious, stay engaged, and don't be afraid to ask those tough questions.
The world of AI is full of possibilities, and it's up to all of us to guide those possibilities towards a better future.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dives into YuLan-Mini.
We hope you've enjoyed it.
And that you've learned something new along the way.
Remember, the best discoveries often come when we challenge assumptions. Think outside the box and explore the unknown.
Keep diving deep.
Until next time.